Hello, you don't know me. I'm Matt Lucas. I was the trainer for the cast and the stunt team, as well as one of the lead stunt performers on Into the Badlands on AMC. I'm pleased to present my conversation and to mediate the great Sifu Kisu of one of my all-time favorite shows, Avatar: Last Airbender. Let's get started. I'm gonna get off your screen now. I'll be the guy in the background. And thank you to Afrocomicon for letting me be a part of this. This is the great Sifu Kisu. Shimon. What is your name, sir?
Sifu Kisu of the Harmonious Fist Chinese Athletic Association, traditional Chinese martial arts.
And I hear you were involved with the Avatar. What was your involvement with the Avatar: Last Airbender?
Technical consultant, martial art choreographer, and cultural consultant for the bending arts for the series.
How long have you studied martial arts?
Studied martial arts since I was very young, about 7, 8 years old. I've been with my current teacher for the last 43 years.
So in the Avatar, you had to choose different styles for the elements. What systems of martial arts have you studied?
Well, they originally pitched me on just using general martial art movements for the various bendings in the show. And the subject of 4 elements came up, and I thought it would be perfect since the elemental factors manifest themselves in different aspect of the martial arts. So, what was the question again?
What martial arts did you study?
I've studied the Northern Shaolin style with Master Kenneth Hui. I've studied also Hungar, Tai Chi, Xingyi, Bagua, Praying Mantis. Studied Muay Thai, studied Judo, studied Jiu-Jitsu, studied Karate. I'm a lifelong student of the martial arts. Studied Taekwondo for a very, very, very long time as well.
Okay, when you were first approached with the Avatar: The Last Airbender, did you realize that it was going to be a masterpiece?
Oh, we had no idea what was going on. These were tiny conversations that we were having in the backyard at my house and around the desk at Brian Konietzko's house. And we had no idea that this was going to have half the gravity and weight that it ended up having. So, no, it was a complete surprise.
Okay, when did you realize that it was happening? Was it during shooting or was it?
Somewhere around the time when we premiered, and the level of interest that was projected toward the thing kind of was mind-blowing. During the process, you could really see that we were on to something special. They really took me serious. They really listened to the things I had to say, and they organized and implemented those various elements into the show in a very successful manner.
At that time, mixed martial arts and the UFC was getting really big, but did you realize that it was going to help ignite interest in Kung Fu and traditional martial arts again?
It's really funny because I've had several people call me and thank me, like for the first time they have children in their Tai Chi class, which had never been a thing before this show. And then traditional martial art, particularly Kung Fu, has gotten a big shot in the arm from this show. People that wanted to go out and learn Kung Fu or learn Bagua or learn Tai Chi because they were enamored with the elementals that were demonstrated in the show. So I'm very happy that did happen, to give a shot in the arm to an entire industry.
In the show, the Avatar has to learn all these different elements.
Indeed.
Right? And those elements kind of tell the evolution of a martial artist. How is your evolution as a martial artist gone? Have you had to learn certain different types of systems? Like, have you had to do that?
Martial art really leads to a type of self-discovery. And I think through my experience of learning myself and then learning to control my entire body and my breath and my spirit, my chi, and then teaching other people to do that, and then competing against others, and just becoming illuminated through that experience of just finding self through this kind of external to internal process.
What is that? Because there is a playfulness to you, but how have you also, when you first, there's a little bit of a playfulness to you. I hate to break it to you, man. But how has your maturity changed? Because even in the series, you have the Aang, and he's like super playful, but then as time goes on, he matures, but he actually becomes more powerful, finds more responsibility, but at the same time, he's still kind of playful. How has your playfulness
Well, I
changed?
think that we created the thing, 15 years ago? So you change a lot, hopefully, over 15 years, and you grow as a person. I hadn't changed as much as I saw a lot of people who were associated with the show change. You know, money will change you, definitely. It didn't change me. Fortunately, because of my process of practicing a particular discipline day in and day out, and then also teaching that discipline to people, has caused me to grow and see life as just a bigger picture instead of a series of isolated incidents. Everything's connected. Right?
Yeah, so the elements actually are represented in martial arts. So whenever we're doing these, how are they, because a lot of times these things happen in cartoons and we think them as more of fantasy, but how are they actually represented in our lives?
Well, the elements, at least in like the Chinese kind of cosmology and theory of life, represent change, right? So that in cycles of creation, earth creates wood, wood creates so on and so on and so forth. There's all these connections. And then there's a cycle of destruction. So one is by a circle represented by a circle going clockwise. The other one is represented by a 5-pointed star. So, it's like paper, scissors, rock. Earth displaces water. Water puts out fire. Fire burns wood, that sort of thing. So I think it's really related to change in life. It's the big lesson you can learn is that everything has a process, everything has a cycle, everything has a yin and yang aspect to it. It matures, and then it withers and it dies. It's born, it matures, it withers, it dies.
Yeah, how do the martial arts help drive the story?
From my perspective, the martial art gave the bending styles process, right? It came from somewhere and went to somewhere. So it kind of gave it a place in reality that people could relate to. One of the things that I told the producers when I was pitching some of this stuff to them was that there will be a huge cult following that would come of this thing, which they still don't recognize what they did there and what they tapped into in terms of the people that are interested in martial arts and the people that will become interested in martial arts because of observing this project.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, as you haven't seen my bathroom sign, right? Have you seen my bathroom sign? We're gonna edit this out.
It used to have Katara bending water or something, right?
Katara and yeah.
What, did you paint it over? What did you do?
No. I just covered it with a piece of paper so not everyone's looking at the Avatar Last Airbender whenever they're watching videos.
He's got an Avatar bathroom sign.
Yeah. Okay, so, all right, so let's talk about this. Those cartoonish moments, those big flowing moments, they are really in martial arts, but what are they used for? How are they? You talk about dynamic structure.
Well, a lot of tantui, the snapping kicks boxing from the Hui Muslims of China, made it into the show. And so those big linear lines that are found in the linear movements that are found in the Chinese martial arts are all relate back to tantui. And so that teaches a series of not necessarily self-defense techniques, but connections, through body connections from the feet to the knees, to the hips, through the waist, to the shoulders, to the arms, out to the hands. So it's a method of throwing what's called manifest energy, or Fa Jin. And in this case, Fa Jin is represented by an elemental manifestation. You move earth, or you set fire, or you push air, or you bend metal. Yeah. That sort of thing.
All right, let's go. We're gonna go through each element, and I want you to talk about. So each element has an attitude, right?
Indeed.
So how did you choose the style, and what is the attitude of that element, and how does that style match up?
Let's start with firebending. Firebending, I related to the Northern Shaolin, which I connected to the Fire Nation. Fire is something that if you keep it in a pit and keep it controlled, then you use it as a tool. But when it gets out of your control, it'll burn your entire world down. And so that was the representation in the show, that the Fire Nation became unbalanced because there's no avatar there to put it in check. And so it overwhelmed, in a conflagration, every other element. The whole planet was going to be Fire Nation at some point if they allowed it to. So the avatar was all about a balancing force.
Being from California, I have no idea what you're talking about. How's it going, Sifu Kisu?
Hey!
All right, we went through each one of the elements. I was wondering if you could just show me just some basic movement of the attitude. It doesn't have to be too crazy. I know it's been a long weekend. You're doing a lot of stuff for us. We owe you everything. But could you just show us? Let's start with your favorite, fire.
Fire?
Yes.
So, let's see. Generally, we use some linear sequences for fire. So, something to the effect of water. Water is gentle and flows into every crack, moves across any surface to the lowest point. But water also, when it's concentrated, can be it can cut diamonds.
Yeah.
It can it cuts steel.
Yeah.
So for the water bending, for the water tribes, we thought that would be perfect in terms of that. So Tai Chi has a lot of five elements. All the Chinese martial arts are related to the changes of five elements, the cycles. The what's it called? There's a word for it. It's the five phases.
Yeah.
In the elementals. So it's funny because the mythology that's contained in this show grew through collaboration. There were all these different forces and different individuals who came together and added their 2 cents to this thing. And so, I mean, I'm not Avatar. The producers aren't Avatar. The writers aren't Avatar. It was this magical collaboration of this team of people that came together, and it'll never happen again.
Water.
Water, one of my favorite things to use for water is the grasp the bird's tail sequence from Tai Chi.
What is it you may think but really about Tai Chi?
People think that it's a gentle exercise for old people. In actuality, it is big, nasty, hard throws across the room.
You move very beautifully. Were you a dancer?
Yeah, I spent a little time in professional ballet company as well as jazz, tap, modern, and I'm not going to demonstrate it for you today.
Let's talk about air. What is the attitude of air?
Air is everywhere. Air is persistently everywhere. When in your body, you lower it into your abdomen, you exhale the dead air. So the airbenders were light and airy, and in particular, this was a shy kid who hadn't realized his full power. The growth arc in the series is freaking amazing, right?
Yeah.
So,
and what was the style you used for that?
Oh, Bagua.
Bagua.
Yeah. Because, and I related it to Bagua because Bagua has this kind of twisting, turning, what they call a tornado power, right?
Yeah.
And I thought that fit perfectly. And then there were a lot of bits that we got away with, and it really suited that. Actually, that selection of Bagua for that character kind of shaped his whole personality, because in Bagua, one of the weaknesses of Bagua is that it reacts off of what the other person does, right? You push this way, I turn this way. You push here, I turn back and swat you.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Then we got earth.
Part of my selection process for the show is I wanted to pay homage to the various styles of martial arts that I respected. And naturally, I couldn't get every martial art. I respect every form of martial art, by the way. I couldn't get them all in the show, so I had to make some choices. So Hunga, the southern style made famous by Wong Fei Hong, Wong Ki Ying, and Hong He Gun, is one of the styles that I really respected. And I've got some of my Hunga brothers are big, strapping, super strong dudes that just scare the crap out of me. So I thought that would be kind of a perfect down home people style.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a style of the people was earth.
Okay, so everyone's always talking about the benders, but one of my favorite story arcs of that was Saka. And I think that is a very important, because he became such a great leader among these benders.
Saka was our comic relief.
Yeah.
And also kind of another grounded character.
Yeah.
So he would compensate for his lack of bending with his wit and his engineering and his various skills. And his character growth arc was freaking amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
I loved it.
Between him and my personal favorite was him and Uncle Ira, and of course Toph. However, who is the one you most relate to? Who is your, like, what is your element?
Oh, fire, naturally.
Yeah.
Zuko has a special place in my heart. Uncle Iroh is my hero.
He's the best.
Is my superhero. So everybody remembers the episode where Uncle Iroh's sitting under the tree singing the song, lamenting the loss of his son. And that was written by a fellow who doesn't get nearly enough credit, Andrew Huebner, who's my good friend. And I was with him last weekend in Santa Fe, New Mexico. We hung out and went to a bunch of spiritual places and talked about a bunch of stuff. But that is probably the best episode in the entire series, as far as I'm concerned. Did I answer your question? I guess I did.
Yes, I mean you're a pretty fiery guy.
Pretty fire. And the Northern Shaolin, like I say, is from our style. I was kind of when I was younger, kind of a black sheep of the family in my Northern Shaolin group. And kind of a bad boy and troublemaker. Still am a little bit, watch out. Yeah, firebending is my thing, man.
How has it changed your life?
How's it changed my life? Goodness gracious. Well, first of all, I'm really proud to have been involved with a property like this. Mainly because it has touched the lives of an entire generation. There are a lot of young people out in the world right now that grew up watching that, and then there's a whole new generation that's discovering it. So how's it changed my life? Not in a lot of ways. I still do the same stuff I was doing back then.
Yeah.
I still practice Kung Fu every day. Still teach a few classes a week. Healthy as a horse.
Cut.